2 more days.
What?
Till the Justice League.
Is it really? Oh, wait, it is. Wait, I thought that was coming out like on. Oh no, it's coming out Friday.
Yeah.
So I guess I count today, but it is just Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday's third. How do you count days? 2 more days.
Yeah. Today's over.
And I guess so it's like going to be like
how do you count hours?
All right, time is a construct. I set you up for that one.
You got to make a time as a construct jar. You have to put $1 in every time.
No. All right. How about
money's a construct?
I mean, do you really want to get into that argument? I mean, yay. I want to just lead us in. Let's get into this. I'm excited about this episode.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's
Mixtape. Hey, everybody.
Hello, one and all.
Welcome. Today we'll be finishing our movie review month of animation. I mean, I guess probably our banter, we're probably going to talk a little bit more about animation stuff, but this is like the next review. And today we are doing, I'm really excited to talk about this one because of where it fits into like the animation lore and movie lore in general.
Why you keep it a secret? Just tell them what it is.
It's Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within.
It's The Spirits Within. Yeah,
it's Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within, because the spirit is within all of us, as we find out in the movie. So IMDb, it's got a 6.4 rating on IMDb. It was released July 11th of 2001, which actually I have like a timeline in my mind of like where this fits into like the Final Fantasy games as well.
Why did I put August 2nd?
I don't know. Did I look at it wrong?
No, you're right. It is. Yeah, it's July. Where did I get that from?
Maybe there was another.
Oh, I know what it is.
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
Shortly after the release, they had this thing called. I actually made a note of it. Wait. Aki's Dream.
Oh.
And they took all the dream segments and they just put them together and then released it.
Interesting.
As like a short film, and
because
people were very confused of why.
Yeah,
and that came out
especially
after,
putting like
July,
if you
August,
just if you just put it all together, like you're getting a lot of repetition in there.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, so I think that's what it is, because I know that came out after in this August 2nd, July 11th.
So wait, did they like release that on DVD separately?
It's in the DVD. Like it's a special feature on the DVD.
Oh.
I don't know. It was actually kind of really hard to find anything about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I found some stuff about like that's talked about on the Blu-ray featurette, and I was trying to find really hard somewhere online where I could just watch that.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything,
and I couldn't find it. So yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So July 11th,
July 11th, summer of 2001. I was going into high school that year. Yeah, and getting ready to And then so for like in box office, it was number 74 for the in year and number 75 for calendar gross, which, I mean, I was looking at this year. There's a couple of movies that we actually like that are a lot lower on this list for like...
Yeah, like what?
I can't think off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. Well,
there's also like, it was like over 300 movies released this year.
Yeah, and it was like... It was kind of like every year, but like more specifically for animation, just to give an idea of just kind of cool things that came out. Like that, so you had you had this, then you had Shrek, Monsters Inc., Atlantis, Emperor's New Groove, Osmosis Jones, Monkey Bone. That was kind of a cool year for animation.
Yeah, Monkey Bone's right around like the same like box office as well as this movie. I mean, no, for animation, it's a great movie, and I didn't realize this is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring came out this year. I didn't realize they came out the same year. The Harry Potter movie and the Lord of the Rings movies are the same fucking age. Literally and a month apart from each other.
Huh. That's funny.
So if you guys didn't know that, now you do. And my mind was kind of blown. Because I remember when I was more excited for Lord of the Rings at that time, not Harry Potter. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about
Jurassic
Final
Park
Fantasy.
3 came out too.
I know. I thought that was like in the 90s.
I didn't realize. Yeah, a lot of these movies, I'm like, I didn't realize they were this old. Like
some of them I thought were older.
Like what?
Planet of the Apes.
Mark Wahlberg one.
Yeah, the Tim Burton one. Yeah. Pearl Harbor I thought was older.
Yeah, I definitely thought Pearl Harbor was older.
I actually legit thought Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone may have been a little bit older.
Oh, you thought it would come out like
99,
yeah,
maybe, but I know. Or maybe even like a little bit later, maybe it was 2003. I don't know. I just didn't realize this was the year for Harry Potter as well.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely for me or probably a year. I've seen almost every single movie through like the top like 100 list.
Yeah, I think I did too.
You know, it's like this is definitely like being a teenager. You're constantly watching movies. Well, at least Tommy and I were. I don't know what you guys were doing in your teenage years. Maybe getting laid.
Well, and we also bring up these movies to kind of give a context of the year we're talking about too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of what. Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
He's real proud of himself.
You want to give us your 10-word synopsis?
It's 13 today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 13-word Tommy synopsis. Don't have a good name for it yet. Scientists hunt for spirits in plants and animals to disperse hostile alien ghosts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Don't really find out that they're ghosts till later, but nah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, was that a big spoiler? Was that
no,
a big
no,
twist?
I'm not saying, hey, you spoiled something. I'm just saying.
Big twist there. What?
So yeah, going into the cast and crew. This movie was created by and directed and written by the creator of the actual Final Fantasy series itself, that Final Fantasy franchise itself, Hironobu Sakaguchi. And then it was also, they have credited on IMDb and also through the credits, co-director Motonori Sakakibara. Which through a further investigation, I was able to find that he was like the art director. What?
I like your wording.
Further investigation. I found out that he was the art director and also like more like the cinematographer. So I feel like he was kind of more like in control, or in more creative control of like the computer generated aspect and like how that was going to look and feel and move, while Hironobu was a lot more on just more of the story and probably a lot of the computer graphic stuff as well. But like, because I also through the credits I noticed that they have credited Jack Fletcher as the casting director and voice director. So that, which kind of like, I think that could have been like, he was probably more talking with like the actors and like their motives on like what they were recording and whatnot. Because I feel like, I'll get into this in my review, but I definitely feel like there is a definite like, I feel like there is a weird disconnection with some of the voice acting and a lot of the action that's happening. Yeah. But yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I guess because there's, like Hironobu Sakaguchi. He's most notably known for just like video games and specifically Final Fantasy. Yeah,
and then like Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey, which I remember. I think that was on the Xbox 360.
Probably. He's more of just like producer for video games now, but like for writing credits, like he brought us Final Fantasy 1 through 4, Final Fantasy 7, Parasite Eve. He had the concept for Final Fantasy 9. Literally, like the only movie he ever worked on was this, was Final Fantasy Spirits Within.
We'll get into that. Why that's
yeah.
Okay, we'll get into that too.
Because he directed Last Odyssey, like you were saying, yeah. That's video game. And then Motonori, he has very small like credits. Like a lot of his stuff is more, I think he's just like more of a behind the scenes, like probably video game, like CGI type guy. Yeah, because even then it's like something called Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. And I remember that, I think that's just the Pokemon movie, but with CG as opposed to standard. Like, I think so, yeah.
Because I remember seeing the trailer for it and I was like, this just looks like the movie that came out when we were kids.
But, it's just all three-dimensional.
Yeah, it's all three-dimensional. Yeah, I don't know. I was like, okay. That's the thing that stood out to me.
But then, so Hironobu, he had the story, pretty much the concept, and then so two writers, Al Reinert and Jeff Vintar, were brought in to then write the screenplay, essentially, to kind of actually like write it out.
Yeah, and L. Reiner did Apollo 13 was like the one that stood out to me the most, and then Jeff Vintar did iRobot.
And I noticed I wanted to put Hot Zone on there as well because because that's
Hot Zone.
I think that's gonna be an ongoing series, and that's kind of like it seems like his baby, like he's like the creator of it and everything.
Yeah,
which Hot Zone, if you're not familiar with, is right now. Is this one? Was the first one a coronavirus thing, or what was the pandemic, or was it SARS? It's a pandemic like type show. The frightening spread of the Ebola virus. There we go. So it's very fitting with our world right now. The next one that's supposed to come out looks like is anthrax. God,
that's some fun material there,
right? Oh man. So I did actually, I found some information through a specific Final Fantasy forum, which is the Final Fantasy fandom website. It's finalfantasy.fandom.com. And it just had a little bit more interesting information on the behind the scenes for like this, for like the console, like in the concept and production part of this website. They talk about the movie's working title was simply Gaia at first. During pre-production, the script went through 50 incarnations. Jeez. Early incarnations include a New York City divided in an upper city and a lower city, riot police, oxygen salesmen, and dispensing machines, and even French Foreign Legion desert troops and European biohazard soldiers. In one of the incarnations, there was a small child named Meg, who had a much larger part in the overall story. In the final version of the film, it is mentioned that the fifth spirit was drawn from a terminally ill child. This is the only reference left to Meg left in the final version. The movie was created using 3D CG tool called Maya, as well as original tools created in Honolulu. The total production time on the film was over 4 years. By the time the final shots were rendered, some of the earlier ones had to be redone because they did not match anymore. Also, the software used to create them had become more advanced, and hence more detail was possible.
That's like crazy to me.
That's insanity.
Yeah.
That's also like, that means like these voice actors recorded something in like 1998, 1999 or 97, like late 90s. And then they just spent 4 years making the fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's also like, if you think about like the actors, like the voice actors, we'll get to them in a minute. Like they're like, they're big names. People know them, but like for like 2001, nobody kind of really knew who they were. I mean, they knew. I don't know. I don't know.
I think the thing is that they weren't really voice actors yet.
No, yeah. I mean, well,
a lot of them.
Ming Na, maybe.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But yeah. I also have a little bit more on the development. Here we go. So yeah, continuing a little bit further on. This is coming from directly from Wikipedia. Original script. Here we go. The screenplay written by Already. The film. No. Oh man, I lost. I had it highlighted in my computer. Just got rid of it. Okay, here we go. One of the producers, Chris Lee, compared The Spirits Within, the first full-length photorealistic animation film, to Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first full-length cell animated film. In order to keep the film in line with Hironobu Sakaguchi's vision as director, several script rewrites took place, most in the initial stages of production. Sakaguchi stated he was pleased with the film's final cut, saying he would not have changed anything if given the chance. The film had high cost overruns towards the end of filming. New funds had to be sourced to cover the increasing production costs while maintaining staff salaries. The film's final cost of over $137 million, which included $30 million spent on marketing and the film's distribution to Columbia Pictures, escalated from the original budget rumored to be around $70 million. $45 million alone was spent on the construction of Square Studio in Hawaii. It was Columbia's first picture since Care Bears 2, A New Generation, in 1986. And this movie is...
Animated.
Yeah, animated movie, sorry. And this movie is considered one of the biggest box office flops of all time.
Yeah, domestically made back about $32 million.
Yeah.
So they were
they lost
over
like
100.
Yeah. Well, what I read was that they were over, like, it was I mean, it's still over 90 million. Like I read, they lost over $90 million on this movie. Like, holy.
Which actually
fuck.
like led to the disbanding of Square Pictures.
Yes, because this was Square's attempt at making their own like movie studio.
Well, it's also kind of interesting too for an animated point. I guess this might be a good time to like kind of bring it up too. Is they were gonna try and basically, I tried to explain this the other day and it just didn't. Okay, so they were trying to make animated actors to be put in different movies as different characters.
Interesting. I didn't read about this.
Yeah, so these characters were going to be these characters in this movie, but their design would be taken to other movies and they would play other plot lines. And they were trying to make virtual reality.
They were trying to create CGI actors.
Yeah.
So then would they have the same voice actor each time?
I believe so. That was the idea. They were going to try to make these synthetic human, basically computer-generated humans to be put in different movies, which is kind of can you imagine if they had pulled it off? Like,
that's such a fucking like futuristic, like weird idea.
That's some Blade Runner shit.
Yeah, that's like beyond Blade Runner, dude. That's like fucking, I can't even like, yeah, that's like, that's next
Yeah,
level.
but I was reading an article where they were like, this is kind of, that was what they wanted to be leading into, is to make these reoccur, which I was just like, that's insane. So they had these really high hopes,
man,
but then this was such a flop that they, like, I don't even think they lasted a year. I think that this came...
Dude, I think it came out and they were just like, pull the plug.
Yeah, like, I think like that, which is just kind of like... And it really kind of, in this kind of situation, makes me feel really bad, too, for the people involved, because you spent 4 years.
And some of like this like featurette stuff that I did find on YouTube, like you can find like, there's like an hour and a half long featurette. This may have been the featurette that I was trying to find, that's the Blu-ray one, but it's like, it's the CG animators like showing how they're like rendering and creating everything, and they're super excited about it and like so proud to show the work, because this movie's animation is beautiful.
This, like, for all of its like its flop as a movie, this caused a chain reaction for video games.
Oh yes,
this changed, for not being a video game, this changed video games and Final Fantasy specifically. They went, wait, what if we make our games like this?
Yeah.
And it completely refaced video games as we know it. So this is actually a really important movie.
It kind of refaced also like how, like, I mean, it refaced a little bit of animated movies as well. It showed totally. Like you could tell like what the capabilities were, as long as you didn't take, $150 million in 5 years to make it.
Yeah. But it's like, and I think that's especially for like our like for us and listeners too, this is a very like important movie, especially for our month of animation. This is actually, it was this is a huge deal.
Yeah, it actually was kind of like we walked into this, be like, yeah, it'd be fun to like talk about this movie because it's like Final Fantasy, but it's not really Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but like we remember being cool. Yeah, like, sure, let's check it out, and then being like,
oh wait, behold, we're like, oh, this movie's got some fucking crazy good history to it.
Yeah, like this was a really fun like.
We keep walking into this shit.
Yeah, it was a fun research.
But yeah. So before we go further into the movie itself, let's actually just really quick, do a quick overview of the actors.
Okay, let's do actors and then we'll do reviews and then we'll get into the...
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So its leading voice actress is Ming-Na Wen, who plays Dr. Aki Ross. You probably recognize her from... Well, she's the voice... When did Mulan come out? Mulan was like 90s, wasn't it? Like 98.
I was gonna say 97, 98.
97, 98. So yeah, she's the voice of Mulan, and she also started like in like ER.
98.
Yeah, nice. She was Chun-Li in the Street Fighter movie. Maybe we should review that too. That'd be fun.
I've never seen that one.
You've never seen it? Oh my god, it's so bad.
I have a feeling that Jean-Claude Van Damme is in it.
Yeah, he plays Guile.
Who's the bad?
He's supposed Guile's supposed to, like, Guile is just like an American like fighter, but they made him the main good guy in the Street Fighter in the movie, when Ryu is supposed to be the main character through the Street Fighter series.
Was it like a bullshit American movie?
Oh yeah, okay. No, it turned it became very, very patriotic.
Okay. Yeah. So Street Fighter, Mulan. She was in Spawn, the TV series.
I think that was the voice.
Yeah,
it was a voice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So out of all of the people that are like voice actors on here, she's the only one that has like a voice acting like
especially at
career
this time too.
At this time, yeah.
Because a lot of these people ended up doing voice acting later on, but she was one of the few that was actually like had been doing it for a while.
Yeah,
and you can kind of tell.
Yeah. I mean, she does. I mean, yeah, no, she does a great job in it.
And the most recent,
she's actually very proud of it too. Like I read a quick interview of her being like talking about how she felt like she just birthed this character through like just words, and like how she was like, I'm so impressed with the work that I was able to put through.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So she's
And then something more recent to like put a face to the name if you don't know, Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah, she's Fennec in The Mandalorian.
Who's
she's the with Boba Fett at the end of it.
Boba Fett.
Yeah. So then you go into, we have Captain Gray Edwards, voiced by Alec Baldwin, who
looks like Ben Affleck.
Yes, 100%.
We were watching it.
And I was like, why the fuck is Ben Affleck right here?
He takes off his helmet and I go, hey, Ben Affleck. And we started pissing ourselves. It was straight up Ben Affleck from fucking Armageddon.
I know. It was so, I was like, and Alec Baldwin's voice just does not fit.
It was weird.
If you know, Alec Baldwin, 30 Rock.
Beetlejuice,
thank you.
The Shadow, Pearl Harbor.
He's not in Pearl Harbor. Were you thinking Ben Affleck the entire
Maybe.
Maybe he's in Pearl Harbor too. I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm trying to no, there's one. What's that? They're like,
yeah, he's in Pearl Harbor. Weird.
Doolittle. Wow. Okay. Wow.
That's weird.
The royalty. Yeah. Alec Baldwin's everywhere. Ving Rhames. Most notably, I recognize him from Con Air and Pulp Fiction.
In Pulp Fiction, he's Marcellus Wallace.
Marcellus Wallace in Con Air. He's Diamond Dog.
Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. He's the tech guy, isn't he?
I don't know. I can't remember any of the Mission Impossibles.
Yeah,
I kind of remember.
It's been a long time.
I remember
actually,
the second one because NSYNC had like a music video. Remember that?
No.
Yeah, they did like a Mission Impossible music video.
Song?
I'll show it to you. We'll find it later.
Okay.
And then for his voice acting, something that you might recognize him from is Lilo and Stitch.
Oh yeah, he's
Cobra Bubbles. He's the
one that's hunting Stitch down, right?
No, he's a social service.
Oh yeah,
he's the social service agent,
like
in charge of their case.
Yeah,
but puts out his hand to shake Lilo's hands. Your knuckles say Cobra Bubbles. He was a good character.
Yeah. And then Steve Buscemi, who Con Air.
Dude, there's a lot of this. There's a lot of these
little crossovers.
Like they all kind of either met up again later on or knew each other kind of already from. Yeah, there's a lot of these little. Yeah, like.
I mean, Ving Rhames and Steve Buscemi are there. I mean, did Ming-Na Wen and Alec Baldwin do something else together? I don't know.
As I was reading, I was like, oh, a couple of these people knew each other.
Steve Buscemi, Con Air, he's the crazy serial killer in it. I can't remember his character's name.
Big Lebowski is Donnie.
Oh, that's right, Donnie.
Monsters, Inc. is Randall. Yeah, Billy Madison, Airheads.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Adam Sandler stuff. He's like a small character, cameo character.
Reservoir Dogs.
He's Mr. Pink, right?
Yeah. Was he?
He's the one that.
Is he in Pulp Fiction?
No, he's not in Pulp Fiction.
He's not in Pulp Fiction.
No.
Okay. But yeah, Reservoir Dogs. He's the one that doesn't want to tip.
Yeah. He's an asshole.
Yeah, he's a huge asshole. He does it really well though.
Yeah. And then so we also got Perry Gilpin, who I think she's most recognizable from Frasier as a Riz. She's the producer for Frasier's radio show. And I think she's done a lot of voice acting as well, actually. Mm-hmm. You look like you're deep in thought.
Yeah, it's just like she was in. I kind of remember her from CSI.
She's done a lot of like cameo roles and stuff.
It's like I can't really pinpoint her, but she looks really familiar to me. And also, I didn't watch Frasier, so I think I've just seen her over the years.
That's possible,
off and on,
Yeah. And then Donald Sutherland as Dr. Sid, which really quick, that's like one of the biggest, like probably like Easter eggs to make this fit into a Final Fantasy world is there's always a Sid
I was reading that too.
In a Final Fantasy game, pretty much up until third. No, there's one in there's a Sid in each Final Fantasy game, pretty much. I think starting in Final Fantasy 2, maybe. I don't think there's one in the first one, but yeah. So he's kind of like that, and Sid's either an engineer or a doctor or a pilot. He's like something very vital for the team to like utilize.
And I think Donald did a really good job too.
He did. I strangely sometimes looked at the CGI character and thought I was looking at Anthony Hopkins, though.
Totally, because I'm not thinking about Anthony Hopkins and Beowulf.
Yeah. So, right?
we definitely need to do Beowulf at some point.
All right. And then, I mean, if you slide down just a little bit, I mean, there's, I just want to give a shout out. Oh, yeah, James Woods, who's...
the
bad guy. He's General Hein. It very Russian sounding, actually.
And he looked.
Yeah.
His design was a very particular,
very World War II looking type of character.
I'm not gonna say who, but
but yeah, James Woods. I mean, most notably as a voice actor, he's Hades in Hercules.
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
No, I didn't think of that. I don't know why.
I can't. I'm actually blank. I didn't write down the actor stuff because there was too many of them.
James Woods, Casino, Nixon, Vampires, John Q.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of these actors. I realize I haven't, like, even Alec Baldwin is like, I actually haven't seen a lot of Alec Baldwin movies.
Yeah, same. I mean, or I have. I'm just forgetting them. You know,
yeah,
so I looked through the list. I'm like, oh yeah, but I haven't seen it in so long that it's just like not.
I think we're just like a little bit past. Like he was a little bit.
He was for our generation. He was 30 Rock.
Yeah, like
yeah, and that's the Alec Baldwin or Trump on SNL
or Parker and Friends.
That one episode.
I thought he was in a couple.
No, he's only in one episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I really remember him from that. I just thought he was funny.
Well, I mean, yeah, because his character is absurd in that episode.
And then jumping to Keith David.
Yeah, Keith David.
Who we talked about in There's Something About Mary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's the father, and he's the voice of Spawn.
Yeah, and for his, I kind of went with more like he was in, for anime, like voice acting, Princess and the Frog, Rick and Morty, Coraline, Mass Effect 1 through 3, which I don't remember him being in. I guess I haven't played those in forever. And Gargoyles, which I don't even know how I fucking forgot that.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's Goliath, isn't he?
I'm like, how did I forget that? I love that show.
Damn, yeah. Oh man, that needs to get remade. I would get down on a really cool reboot of that.
What, like another animated show or like a movie, like a live action movie?
A live action series, maybe, but I would love to see just like
Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Or HBO.
Dude, we could write it and send it into Netflix.
All right, let's do it. Let's fucking do it. I'm down. Okay. That's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of voice actors. A lot of people that do additional voices that looking through our additional voices through video games, which is they have they have a lot of people they can bring in for that. So.
But those are the big names, which is also, it's a lot of really big names for kind of to me, a random project.
No, exactly. That's kind of this weird thing about it, is like looking at this cast list. I'm like, how really? Yeah. Like how did I just feel like, but you see, I think that's also going back to when I was bringing up like how voice actors or like people that are like the original Turtles in the live action movie, how those actors just don't get the credit that they deserve.
Yeah.
It's like they're not getting put on the poster as like being promoted. Like it's not like, hey, Final Fantasy's Spirits Within with Ming-Na Wen and Alec Baldwin and Steve Buscemi and Perry Gilpin. It's Final Fantasy, the Spirits Within animated movie. Mm-hmm. And Final Fantasy is the thing that's supposed to be carrying it.
Yeah, the thing that's the hook to get
you
to come see
which
it.
is literally, that's the only reason why I think Final Fantasy is the name on it.
Yeah. I would assume so.
I mean, yeah, we can actually go into that. Yeah, let's get into the reviews.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Let me jump back a couple pages. So I went to Roger Ebert again because I was actually he's safe for me a lot of the time, but I'm very curious with him too because he can be so brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roger Ebert, reviewing a movie like this, I am torn between its craft elements and its story. The story is nuts and bolts space opera without the intelligence and daring of, say, Spielberg's AI.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, totally. And then Bob Smithhauser from PluggedIn.com, based on popular video game series Final Fantasy Spirits Within, combines state-of-the-art technology with neon pagan theology for a summer sci-fi hit that's part escapist fun, part spiritual counterfeit.
Yeah.
Which, does that make spiritual counterfeit?
What do you mean?
What does that mean?
Spiritual counterfeit. So like I mean, like a counterfeit, like something like
fake,
like a copy.
Yeah,
you know. So like spiritual copy
of. I just didn't really get the.
I don't know.
And that was just the end of it, and I was like, "It's interesting," but I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Almost an incomplete thought, maybe.
Maybe I don't know. I was like, "What do you mean?" Like maybe a spiritual counterfeit of Final Fantasy.
Maybe that's kind of what he's saying.
Yeah, I was like, "That's an interesting one," because I'm not exactly sure. And I read.
What are you in counterfeit of?
Yeah. But
yeah.
Anyways. But yeah, so I was like, because that's like I think what it really comes down to is this movie, like we already said, was animation wise was pretty incredible, especially for 20 years ago. It was very impressive, but then the story kind of,
So I was, did you just have those two?
I just had those two.
Okay. So yeah, I got a little bit longer of a review from some of my other reviews
because they were all kind of like the same.
Yeah,
so
I feel like I mean, even like kind of what I write, I think it. Excuse me. I think it's kind of like a general consensus.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, kind of was a general consensus.
Yeah.
Because even like you were saying like without the daring, what was it the intelligence and daring of, say, Spielberg's AI, because even AI critically, it's a same thing. Some people thought it was very interesting and cutting edge, which it was, but also the story was a little, like from what I remember, had a lot of falling outs.
I don't think I've seen AI
with Jude Law and
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, Haley Joel Osment. You never seen that?
I don't think I know. I mean, I know the movie, but I'm
it's like
I'm pretty sure I haven't seen it.
It's like a modern day Pinocchio, a future Pinocchio sci-fi thing.
I haven't seen it. I know of it, but I haven't seen it. Also, I'm thinking of Alfie for a weird reason. I don't know why.
Because he kind of looks like the same character.
But it's Jude Law too, isn't it?
Yeah, but they look kind of similar. Yeah. Oh, and also Jude Law's
he's an AI in that too, isn't he?
He's a prostitute AI. He's a sex robot.
Okay, all right. Let's get into my review. Let's not worry about.
But yeah, he's a sex robot.
All right. So, ever wonder what it would be like if your soul was pulled out of your body? Well, in Final Fantasy Spirits Within, it gives you a pretty clear interpretation of what it might look like. In the year 2065, Earth has been overtaken by an alien life form that has the ability to literally rip our life source from our bodies, leaving only a sack of meat behind, our actual body. Following the work of Dr. Sid and Aki Ross, the movie takes us on a journey to find living spirits on a desolate Earth in order to remedy these alien spirits from their torment and stop the destruction they have placed on Earth. The movie is absolutely beautiful as a piece of visual art. It was released in 2001 and looks like a video game that was released this year for a next-gen console. Which brings me to one of the problems of this movie. Occasionally I felt like I was watching a very long cutscene from a video game. With lingering shots that should have cut to something else, to specific angles that remind me a lot of a video game graphics from the late 90s, the lack of expression from the characters in the lack of expression from the characters in emotionally driven scenes. The voice acting is good for the most part. The most distracting thing for me was that some of the voice work doesn't fit the character. In particular, Captain Gray, or the captain of his unit, is voiced by Alec Baldwin, but oddly looks exactly like Ben Affleck. The story is compelling, yet a little confusing. Coming from the mind of Hironobu Sakaguchi, creator of the Final Fantasy franchise, it deals with the ideas of the inner spirit, aggressive military practices, and an evolving main threat that essentially becomes a quote-unquote god-tier threat. If I'm to take anything away from watching this movie, is that video game developers and designers make very beautiful visual art, and that maybe that's the spirit that lives for them. I read that sentence wrong, but I'm not going to worry about it.
Yeah, like I mean, I agree entirely with the super long cutscene thing. Yeah, and when the voice acting too, something that I think they didn't do the mouth the lips movement, mouth movement was. It almost looked like for moments. It looked like it's dubbed.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it looked like halfway there.
Yeah.
Like it was. Because like they did like motion capture, they talked about in like the creation, for like the movement of everybody, but I think they only did that with like movement of the arm, movement of the head turning, movement of the legs, the hips, and stuff like that. But I don't think they like did like any of the facial reconstruction, because even one of those like moments of that featurette that I watched a little bit of, they're talking about how they were they were watching, like they had like a camera up close on Ming-Na Wen's like mouth, and like how she would say the words, and was like, as she was like putting her own inflection on it and pronunciation, they did their best to like take that and put that onto the character's face.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, I just don't think they had like the thought or the technology at the time to really do like a like face motion capture to really like catch the specific detail that like the face muscles do, and as you're talking or like expressing stuff.
The dot things they put on, and the rendering equipment
that they do nowadays.
On anything basically. And I also thought I kept kind of, and maybe this is just me, but I was noticing that they were very rarely shooting anything but from the waist up. Unless it was an actual action kind of sequence where they needed to be running somewhere, and it was kind of a fast-paced, quick thing. But the entire movie is everyone is from the waist up.
Yeah.
You're not seeing, and that's, I'm thinking that's an easier...
I mean, yeah, because
you don't have to worry about rendering the legs, but then it makes the movie, the shots then became weird.
Yeah.
Like the bad guy talking and he's walking through the room. You're seeing him from the waist up. You're not shooting it from the far corner of the room and watching him to give him like an imposing kind of like vibe.
Well, I mean, there was definitely like a little bit of like influence of anime, anime cinematography, I want to say. Like, and how, I mean, that's a very popular thing in anime, is like either like from the waist up or like just the waist and like the top of the eye cut out or something, like very just like almost like it's coming out of like the frame of a manga, you know, like I feel like there was some of that in there, and I see what you're saying, but a big thing was like just where they just decided to like have like the entire like scene presented, like if you were to set the camera angle up there, just felt off. You know, it's like I felt like oh, this is a fixed camera angle in a video game.
Yeah, it was very, and it wasn't towards like the end that I started really catching it, and I was like, oh, this is really strange.
I feel like towards the end is when it got a little bit better with it, though. Like towards the end of it, it started to become more cinematic.
But that's why I think I started noticing it, is because then I'm like, oh, I'm seeing a lot more full body movement.
Okay, yeah,
than I was before, and I was like, oh. Yeah, they were really keeping it to either sitting at a desk or
and a lot of the stoic points, but like I don't know, I feel like in a lot of the action sequences, it was like definitely like, I mean, there was a lot of them like running away from the alien threat and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I maybe like I said, maybe I gotta watch it again, but it's when it was slow dialogue moments of trying of getting kind of like the plot going and explain, like to help explain to us as the audience what was going on in this world, this destroyed Earth. I just found the angles really weird and stiff. Yeah. Felt very confined in a little box.
But then there was like moments where I'm like at the beginning of it when Aki is like walking through like the ruin, like the old New York City. It's like, it almost feels like there is a camera just kind of like shakily following her through the city a little bit. So it's like feeling cinematic, but then it goes into a quick cut where like she runs off, and then like you're like standing like the camera's behind like the two soldiers. And as you watch her run away, I was literally like, oh, where's my controller? I need to start playing. Like, I need to like, oh, this is when I take control of the character. It was like such a perfect like third person point of view for a video game, where it was like, it was created by video game people. It's not. Keep watching. It was disorienting.
That must have been a conscious decision.
I think it was just like it's what they know. You know what I mean? Even though it's like not even like, it's like what they know, but also at this time in 2001. the angle and like playing games like this didn't exist yet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like at this time, video games were fixed camera angles.
Yeah.
Like, or like it's some type of 3D world, like Super Mario 64, or like even or in Zelda, a little bit of Crash Bandicoot, but like video games did not look like this, or even could you do stuff like this? It's like so fucking weird.
Yeah, and like also just like on the vibe alone, I just kept going Death Stranding,
dude, right?
Death Stranding.
There was also, I thought like Silent Hill a couple of times. I felt,
the bad guy?
Dude, Parasite Eve, 100%. I can see exactly why Hironobu is like part of like created Parasite Eve.
Well, even like fucking the bad guy, Resident Evil. The T design.
Yes, Wesker.
Yeah. It looks like Wesker, except brunette or dark haired, not blonde.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, you're just missing some fucking sunglasses. Also, can you take off your goddamn leather gloves, please?
That's such a Final Fantasy character.
I
trope,
know,
dude.
Oh my god, long black leather trench coat and black leather gloves, just not scolding, scowling everywhere. Just. But James Woods, I think he was also good.
He did I would say top voice performances: Ming-Na Wen, James Woods, Donald Sutherland, Perry Gilpin. Yeah, she was really good. And then Steve Buscemi and Ving Rhames. I don't know if Ving Rhames is right there with Perry Gilpin as well. Like those three. Steve Buscemi, like kind of like not as. Like he was another one. The voice didn't really match the body.
Yeah, it looked weird, but he was funny. He was the comic.
He was
relief.
a comedic relief. Yeah.
Yeah, like so, like it was whatever.
And then dude, Alec Baldwin was just bad.
God, he was weird. I don't think
he should be a voice.
Dude, he was amazing in Boss Baby. He was hilarious.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, he was really as the baby.
I guess that makes sense though for a character like that.
But that's what I'm saying. This is so they didn't. You got a bunch of actors,
yes,
that have never done voice acting yet,
and then you forced an idea of a body onto them.
Yeah,
because even like Aki Ross, like I kept looking like at moments I was like, wow, she looks like she should be like Sandra Bullock or somebody.
I was thinking Demi Moore.
Yeah,
a young Demi Moore.
Demi Moore and Sandra Bullock fused together.
Yeah.
It
was just like and that's like the thing, and it kind of. Because to me, what I think that I feel like they did is they created the characters, like the concept of what they wanted their characters to look like, especially because they were going into this virtual reality actress thing.
Yeah.
And then got the casting, because like at this time too, they didn't really do that make the character look like the actor thing.
No, not at all.
They didn't do that shit. They didn't fucking care.
Yeah,
they just hired you, and then that was your character. And that's way more.
I mean, Disney did a little bit of it, some here and there, but
like now that's a commonplace thing.
No, yeah, because I mean, also people like a lot of animators are realizing that there's my voice on a character that doesn't have type of weird resemblance of me looks strange. You know, it's like there's something about like the register of our voice and how we talk with it, that we move with it. Like just even like me moving my hand right now, is like it's a part, like it affects my voice.
Oh, and just think about the Reface app.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's certain faces that our faces can be on, and it's like, oh, like the structure and everything just makes it more of a natural kind of transition.
Yeah.
But what would you say in the last 15 years they've started like that's like the commonplace thing is to make the character look like the actor?
I think ever since this movie came out.
Yeah. So maybe because of this. Yeah, and it's just it was a lot of them were weird. Some of them worked out fine.
Yeah.
But most of them like even like weird.
Yeah, Donald Sutherland does a really good job, but like,
and also he has a great voice.
He has a great voice. There were definitely moments where it was just kind of like it didn't really fit Doctor. Like that, Dr. Sid's movement just didn't fully match it. You know, same with like Ming-Na Wen and Aki Ross. Like her voice performance is great, but just like there's just these handful of scenes that Aki Ross and Captain Gray have that are just. Like
they're kind of forced, like when they're like, I thought like them being stuck in the elevator.
Yeah, stuck in the elevator.
The forced romantic thing.
Yeah, like I could tell like Alec Baldwin and Ming-Na Wen probably had like a good like recording session with it, but then like they just their performance didn't match what the animation of the characters didn't match the emotion of the performance.
Yeah, but even then it's like even when you first meet Aki Ross, and she has her first vocal like monologue. Even that I felt was a little. There's a disconnect where she's like floating through space, and she's very, very poignantly telling you, okay, so 35 years ago, aliens came down and then wiped us out, and now we live. You know, it was like very, and that's also just a writing thing. I was like, this is really not. You're giving me a synopsis. Mm-hmm. You're not giving me a dialogue.
She's giving you the background. Yeah,
but I was like, I mean,
but that's all. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. It was just literally like she was pretty much like breaking the fourth wall, or wasn't she? Who was she?
She was like, it was like a journal.
That's right. Yeah,
but I just found it very
forced,
and very like just not a natural.
It felt like the beginning of a video game, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It didn't feel. Yeah, it was just like, I don't know. It was like Sarah Connor in Terminator.
Oh yeah,
you know. Very,
I mean, it's very sci-fi.
Yeah. Maybe it's just like a sci-fi thing. I don't know. Anyways, but
do we want to like actually like kind of like go through the steps of the movie, or I mean, I'm not even talking about just like where this movie went wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, okay, yeah. So,
well, I mean, we didn't. I mean, let's like so the whole like the actual like story of this movie.
The story of it. Yeah,
the actual story of this movie is that like 30. It's in 20. It takes place in 2065. Like 34 years ago, this like meteor crashed onto planet Earth, and this alien race came out and just started fucking killing everybody, like invisible aliens, essentially.
Yeah, and then when they make contact with you, you drop dead. Basically. Yeah, they just people around you are just dropping.
They literally rip your spirit out of you, the spirit that's within. I just had to say it. And so with it, like so. Dr. Aki Ross and Dr. Sid, they have found this thing of like there's like these it's kind of explained in the movie, it's kind of convoluted. There's 8 spirits that can be found to like save the humans from being infected by whatever parasite these aliens can put onto a person if they're in contact and don't die.
Yeah, like so they can, if you're in contact with them too long, they'll rip out your soul, but if they just kind of brush next to you, you'll get like a little piece, like alien status. Like,
yeah. Like it's like,
in your
like
chest.
an aerosite. Or an aerosite. A parasite.
Aerosite? It's kind of a floaty.
Nice. So like they've been fighting this war for like 35 years, and like there's only like a small amount of humans that exist. Yeah, that looks exactly like out of a video game. Yeah.
That looks like fucking Lost Planet.
I feel it looks like Gears of War almost.
Holy shit, yeah, it does.
And also looks like Halo.
Yeah. Looks like Gears of War meets Halo meets Lost Planet.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to derail you.
Yeah, it's good. Where was I?
The aerosite.
The aerosite. That's
the
right.
Aerosite.
Oh yeah. So there's that. The whole thing is that Dr. Sid has this belief that there is a spirit inside of everyone, and that's what's affecting. That's what these aliens are actually affecting, is the spirit that lives within the person, and there's a spirit that lives within the planet called Gaia.
Which is kind of like, that's another kind of like callback to Final Fantasy, right? Final Fantasy has this.
There is a lot of Final Fantasy games that believe in the, like Final Fantasy VII specifically.
Which I learned. That's why I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of.
Final Fantasy VII specifically talks about the life stream and the how Shinra Corporation is pulling it out to make Mako energy, and they're destroying the planet slowly, which is also then summoning the meteor down. This movie has a strange lot of like almost connecting parallels to Final Fantasy VII, but it's not Final Fantasy VII by any fucking means. So the military that's still around, they want to use this cannon called the Zeus cannon to try to destroy the meteor, because they think if they destroy this meteor, it's essentially what these aliens are living in. And
yes, it's their hive.
It's their hive. So like they feel like if they destroy it, then the aliens will just disappear. But Dr. Sid believes that the meteor is part of their hive, but the problem isn't that we need to destroy it. It's that they're stuck in something. Like there's something he hasn't really yet figured out.
They're adhered to this meteor somehow.
Yeah,
and by just blowing it up, and then with that too, you'll be hurting our spirit. And he's kind of a kook because of it, believing that, because even the bad guy says, so if I take a gun and shoot the ground. I'm not putting a hole in the ground. I'm hurting the earth. And it's like he's like a laughing stock to believe that there's this like living force, the force combining all of us.
Yeah, exactly.
A circle of life thing.
Mm-hmm. Which I mean, that is a very common theme throughout a lot of Final Fantasy
in sci-fi
story.
in general.
Yeah, in sci-fi in general. Yeah.
Like,
so,
I mean, that actually, real quick, that actually might be kind of a part of its downfall too. Is its plot was too
sci-fi.
Yeah, it was too generic. They didn't do.
Yeah, it was a very generic idea of like a life force, which is, I mean, that's fine, but I mean, then it just turns down to your execution of it and your performance with it.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You know,
yeah, like a lot of sci-fi are the same. You're like, oh yeah, it's totally just an alien movie, but
same
it's
shit,
cool.
different toilet.
Yeah, it's like, but it's cool. Like,
yeah.
I guess that's more horror. It's sci-fi. Like 30 Days a Night. It's just a vampire movie, but it's actually pretty. It's a very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Slasher vampire flick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? There's nothing crazy new about it.
So Aki Ross, she's actually infected with one of these like parasites, these alien parasites, but they found a way to barrier it inside of her chest, and she's the first spirit technically, and they need to find 8 spirits to complete the waveform for the spirits to then all communicate and disappear.
Well, yeah, like Sid's like...
This is kind of a confusing part of the story of it.
Well, yeah, like Sid's explaining that rather than do the militarized way, we can make... Wavelengths can cancel each other out. So if we can match it, we will able to cancel out these invaders' wavelength. But also, that's another thing that was kind of in this movie is that there's a lot of in-world jargon that they use and like terms they use, and you kind of just have to go, okay.
Hopefully you just get it as you go along.
Yeah, you just kind of, there's like no real explanation. It's just very much, this is how this works.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Moving on, next thing. Okay, that's how that works.
Well, but they have like a big thing at the beginning of them. They don't really understand these aliens. They think they're organic.
Yeah, that's the thing. They think they're invaders.
Well, yeah, they think they're invaders, and they think they're organic, and so they're treating it as an invasion and as an organic invasion.
Yeah.
And so what's happening is that since Aki Ross has this thing inside of her, she's having dreams. So like it's communicating with her. Mm-hmm. It's giving her its memories essentially
of the events that happened to its species that led them here, basically. Exactly.
Which they're still like through all of this, they're hunting for the 7th and 8th final spirits to like cancel out the wavelength.
Oh, and kind of like to kind of give like the another part of the conflict too is that we are as a civilization living in these biodome spheres to protect us.
Yes.
Everything on the outside is a barren wasteland, dead earth. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for life.
Like, life on the outside of the barrier.
Yeah, so for a plant, they need to find like plants with a specific frequency and a bird with a specific frequency. And that's just, I think that's kind of important to know.
Yeah. So finally, and then also you got General Hein, right?
Yeah.
General Hein, who finally like they send out with the military to like start finding the rest of these like spirits, and Hein doesn't trust Aki Ross. He thinks that she's just she's
infected.
She's infected, so she's actually working for the enemy.
She's been compromised.
So I mean, it's things unfold like in like action sequences where like the aliens they're actually attracted to her. You find out, and so while they're trying to find like the 7th one, like there's like these giant beasts of fucking aliens just coming after them, which is really strange. Like why these ones exist, and there's like humanoid ones. Mm-hmm. Then through a final dream that she has that. It's like when she's having the 7th spirit being connected with her. Yeah, that's right. It's fucking sci-fi shit, man. And also, like this would actually be a fun video game.
I want to talk to that, and we'll do the end because I have a theory for you.
Oh, okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. So and then Ben Affleck, Alec Baldwin, is in her dream. And they see what actually happened is that this alien species destroyed themselves and their planet through like some type of civil war, and a piece of their planet that from the planet that blew up, a piece of it became kind of like a piece of meteorite that then crash landed into our Earth. And it's the spirits left from this old planet. It's not invading us. They're just ghosts living through whatever spirit form that still exists of that meteor. So they're literally just ghosts of a planet.
Yeah, it's like
the spirits from another planet that just are lost and tormented and just kind of like fighting a never-ending war.
Yeah.
Because like what Aki Ross talks about is like, I don't get how there's these humanoid ones that we see in the cities everywhere, but then out in the desolate wasteland, you get the ones that are just like giant creatures. You're like, what if those were like their whales, their tigers,
their elephants?
Their elephants. And there's those spirits of those animals have crash landed, and now they exist on our planet. So then it's just pretty much like it turns into a ghost story that if this ghost can touch you, the ghost will suck your soul out. You know?
Yeah.
They're just literally like soul sucking ghost beings.
Yeah.
And General Hein is just like, screw this. Oh, that's right. He also fucking like lets all the fucking ghosts in the city.
Yeah, and then
he shuts down his sector, and then like they can like actually thrive through the fucking weird energy that you're making in there.
Well, because they make it with like bio, like bacteria. Like their batteries are in a sense.
Oh yeah,
they're living organisms.
Yeah,
so they're able.
They came from single cell organisms. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're able to
travel through them and like kind of energize themselves.
Yeah, basically.
So I guess like kind of jumping forward even farther to the next step of the movie, because then like a huge action sequences happen, and like pretty much all of the like good guy soldiers that you followed, they die, as they should. I was waiting. I was like, whoa, when are they gonna die? How are they gonna die?
They'll die in really quick succession with each other too.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I thought that we were gonna be like kind of more slowly picking them off. Nope.
They served their purpose, they saved the day, and now they die. I mean, that's just, that's sci-fi, shit.
Yeah.
Sci-fi. It's almost like this is actually kind of more of a sci-fi horror.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, because it's an unknown. I mean, a misunderstood invisible enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
So
they find out that pretty much the eighth spirit is right by the meteorite. So they escaping from the city, they go and they start trying to find that, while General Hein goes up to the Zeus cannon and is like, fuck this, I'm gonna blow this shit up with the fucking cannon, even though he doesn't know that Aki Ross and
he does.
Well, he finds out.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck it.
Yeah. Pew! Yeah, and then he says, fuck it, I'm gonna just shoot him anyway. Which then he ends up fucking opening up the meteor that was there, and the ghost of this life stream of the old planet comes out.
Yeah, like their planet's life stream is now released and aggravated.
Yeah.
And is now attacking our planet's life.
This is totally Final Fantasy God tier fucking problem.
Yeah, but like our energy is blue, their energy is orange.
Oh, but their energy is orange because it's a ghost, because it's dead.
Yeah. And so like tentacles come out and starts absorb. It's going to absorb the planet basically.
Yeah. But he keeps shooting at it, and then of course, finally when they can connect the weight, like essentially, they get to a point where they can actually like solve the problem. Like Aki Ross, like the waveforms are all complete through, because one of the spirits, what I had to do was like swim through our Gaia spirit, and then it would be able to communicate with her. Yeah. So then when she finally has the ability to do that, she needs to create a conduit between her having the waveform and then it connecting to the rest of the spirits. But in the midst of that happening, she sets up like a shield conduit thing, and in the midst of that happening, Hein fires the cannon like one final time, which then destroys her ship and gets rid of the fact that she has a conduit. So then Captain Gray,
Ben Affleck,
Alec Baldwin,
and Bruce Willis isn't there to bail him out.
Nope, he has to, but he also like chooses it.
Oh, come on. That was good.
I'm smiling at it, okay? He decides to work as the conduit, his spirit work as the conduit between her and the rest of the planet. He sacrifices himself to save the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a pretty fucking heroic move, dude. Like, well, it's either me or everybody dies, so here we go.
Yeah.
And while General Hein, just through his fucking, selfishness, trying to he's overworking this fucking Zeus cannon.
Everyone on the space station is like, this thing can only fire so many times within succession without overheating. He says, screw that, goes down and manually starts firing it, causing a chain reaction.
To it all explode.
Yeah.
So then
which was a very unsatisfactory death for me for him.
I wish I would have seen a little bit more of it.
That's what I was saying too. I was like, oh, you don't really get to see, which is a weird thing to say. I want to see him die. But you know what I mean? It was just kind of because then they pan out and it, and then blows up and you're like, oh, okay, well, bad guy's gone. And he killed everybody in the city and space station. Great job. That's what I mean. I was like,
so Dr. Sid and Aki Ross can now be fucking Adam and Eve.
There's other cities.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I would think so.
Probably, yeah. I'm just being an ass. And so they save the world. General Hein's dead. And
and then they transfer the thing over to our inner life force wavelength thing. Into
well, I mean,
the other thing.
So like Ben Affleck's character. So
Ben Baldwin.
What he ends up doing is the spirit of the waveform is kind of emanating from Aki Ross's chest. So he's able to kind of reach out and connect with it, have his inner spirit connect with it. Mm-hmm. And then he reaches up and just touches the spirit of the alien planet, their ghost, which then automatically sucks his soul, obviously, because that's what it does. But since he has the wavelength connected with him,
it's like a pill.
Yeah,
he's a dose of penicillin.
Since he has the wavelength connected with him, he can go his spirit will float through all of the alien spirits, and they will negate because they're just a sound wave apparently, which saves Aki Ross from not having to sacrifice, because she could have just jumped in and would have saved everything. But he's like, no, you saved me. Let me do this for you. Mm-hmm. You, as the doctor, deserve to live and fix the planet.
Well, you spend all this time and energy and stuff to I don't know, enjoy the fruits of your labor. I don't know. And then it's her cradling his body as the sun comes up,
and then you see the bird.
Yeah, and then you see the bird
that's
the life finds a way, know.
Yeah, exactly. And then actually a very beautiful song.
Yeah. And
that was written originally. It was written for the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, and it's one of those the last. I don't know. It left me very.
Yeah,
it was kind of.
I was like, yeah, okay, well, sci-fi. I guess the spirit's within me.
I know.
I don't know why it's Final Fantasy.
I know that if you were to go into Square Enix as a game developer, they'd probably laugh your ass out of the building because this is already $137 million. But I think it would be really fucking cool if they took this, used them as cutscenes, and made a video game within it.
Man, yeah. I mean, I would play the hell out of it, maybe. I don't know.
No, but but you would have all these different, especially in the beginning with Ross kind of having to sneak around the city and avoid. So you could have play as her and have a sneak element. And then you could play, there would be a mission in the desert where you have to be the Marine guys. You know what I mean? I feel you could separate this and input missions. And that'd be a cool way to save it.
Yeah, and I mean,
well, wouldn't that be cool if they did that 20 years later? They took this and then actually made a full-fledged other Final Fantasy universe.
The thing with it though is I really don't think that game would end up being very long.
Probably not,
because if you think about any modern game, it has 60 hours of content at most, and that's a lot of game, 40 to 60 hours of content, and and
then the occasional psycho ones have 80.
Yeah.
You're
and
what?
And really 10 hours of that content is a movie or a long novel. Mm-hmm. Last of Us and Last of Us 2. I mean, I'm really there's a reason why they're making it into a series and not a movie.
What do you mean?
They're making a Last of Us series.
A TV series?
Yeah, HBO.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Pedro Pascal's playing fucking Joel.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh,
man, he's on the up and up.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think that would be I think it's such a bummer that this flopped so hard that they just didn't happen.
I think what really needs to happen is I think this just needs to be pushed to the forefront for people to see again. Because like visually, this movie it's groundbreaking. 2001. I started to watch it on my TV in my bedroom and I was like, no. And I went to the living room and I was like, holy.
Oh, you need it on the nice TV.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. This movie, like 2001, and it looks like graphics on a fucking next gen console. It's mind blowing.
But that's what I'm saying though. That's why I think it would be really cool to then change it from a movie to a little novella type video game that is now an interactive.
Yeah, there we go. That's Have it be like $30-$40.
Yeah.
Actually, it'd probably still end up being 60, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, look, no, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, make it $40. Spend a year on it. You already have the cutscenes. The technology is already up there being used constantly.
Yeah.
The only problem would be that maybe the gameplay would be too good. It wouldn't match up anymore. Maybe.
I think the gameplay would match up pretty well.
But even then, all you do is just dumb it. Like, even let's say you can go to the top tier graphics. Well, then bring it down a couple tiers.
They could also update the graphics on the movie.
Yeah. But I'm like, I
mean, that's what they had to do. Like, for like the end of it was like some of the earlier stuff. They're like, oh fuck, we need to up the game. On this.
But I'm like thinking like that whole scene when she's wandering around barren New York. Imagine that, like a stealth trying to avoid using the flare gun and trying to figure out where these aliens are. Yeah. And you have your little like map, and they and you have to be careful of them passing through. Like, I just think you can make some really cool, and that'd be like, so chapter 1 is like a stealth type game. Chapter 2 is kind of like a shooter action. Mm-hmm. Chapter 3 is, so you have all these different. Kind of
like go like all around with it, because, I mean, one would probably be a protect mission.
Yeah. Where you get her through, you get the plant, and then you switch over to the marine, and now it's protect.
And then there would be the chase sequence in the city. Where you'd have to avoid everything. I mean, there's be like 5 different like styles of video games in one thing.
Yeah. I mean, you do chapter base and you just use the movie as the cutscenes. I'm like, that would be one really cool, and it'd be cool of like the developers of this to see that later on. And then I honestly think, especially with shit like I know Death Stranding has like a half and half community.
Yeah.
But this and then you can expand the lore a little bit too, and give a little, because even then it's like, yeah, the aliens are going around and they're killing people, but there is no real, like, are they just in pain, and then does eating souls like relieve them a little bit? Do they not know what they're doing and they're just asking for help, not realizing that they can't come in?
Or are they just out of control chaos?
Yeah, like you could put a little more lore into that and figure out what their whole thing is. Like, I feel like you could do a lot of really cool stuff, but the thing is, you need to put it back in video game form, or not back, but you need to turn it into video game form, and this would be fucking rad.
Yeah.
As a video game, a novella movie video game hybrid thing, this would be really cool. But as a movie, like you said, it just feels like a really long cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
And
really, I mean, honestly, literally, if Alec Baldwin's voice performance was just better, I was so unimpressed by it. It was so bad.
It really bummed you out that much?
Yeah.
I didn't really.
It was just so I mean, I think part of it was literally because every time I looked at the fucking character, I was like, that I just want Ben Affleck's voice.
I think that, I mean, I think even Roger Ebert said, like, did they pay for the rights to, like, he looks like
the likeliness of Ben Affleck?
I don't, and it's like, who signed off on that? I'm like, that you really,
I don't think they realized they were making Ben Affleck.
But like, how? It's 2001. Like, he's been around.
I know. I don't know how, man.
They were just sitting there like, man, he kind of looks like somebody. Nah, I don't think so.
I don't see it at all.
I don't see it at all.
Huh. I'm gonna go watch Pearl Harbor for a minute.
Yeah, like,
hey, anybody want to watch Armageddon?
Yeah, imagine like that's what it was like. Well, I think Armageddon came out in 2005.
Oh, was
I think so.
No way. Maybe later. Hey, somebody want to watch Good Will Hunting with me? I kind of want to watch Good Will Hunting now. No, 98.
Oh, I was way off on that one.
Right when they started developing it.
Wait, what if there was like a designer that was in like was with Armageddon and then went and did this project? Like, what if it's like some weird like 5 degrees of separation thing? Yeah. And they're just, I really just like Ben Affleck. I don't know, and we couldn't get him on.
Well, I mean, in a weird way, what I will say is, if they were thinking about creating like this idea of virtual actors like that, they were definitely just they were going through some type of like generic formula of like what attractiveness looks like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What is a movie? What is it? What is
a movie?
What
star?
is a big movie star? What does the action hero look like?
Yeah,
Ben Affleck, who, you know.
Can you imagine being Ben Affleck and watching this movie?
I wonder if he's seen it.
Dude, like the fuck? Like, especially imagine him now.
Just like wait.
Let's say he never
did I do this?
Yeah.
What?
Like, imagine he's never heard of it, has no idea, and he's his age now, and he's watching it, and it's fucking him from 98, basically, the way he looked in 98. How much of a mind fuck would that be?
Do you think he'd be like call his agents, be like, I think I need you to watch something. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, I don't remember signing off on this.
How much cocaine was I doing?
And why do I sound so much like Alec Baldwin? That's a fun mental image. Oh, that's good,
man. I'm just imagining that meme of him like smoking that cigarette and him thinking about it. Like, what the fuck?
And if you guys haven't seen this, we are not being dramatic. Just look up.
He looked like the fact
Captain Gray.
Yeah, Captain Gray Edwards.
Captain Gray Edwards, and just like
it's mind-boggling.
Mind-boggling. It's bottling my mind. I do think it's better to watch the reveal, the helmet takeoff in the movie, because it's just like because he's got this military full helmet on, but he takes it off, and you're like,
I was like, like, wait, what?
Like when I said that, we had to pause it. We were laughing so hard. Hey, look, it's Ben Affleck. It's really ridiculous. It's really funny. I mean, like, all in all, this is kind of like I feel like this will just be kind of a thing in just movies. It's the last 10 minutes is what people will remember leaving the theater. Mm-hmm. And this movie, what it does, the nuts and bolts, is not. It's just a sci-fi movie. It's fine. It's whatever. Yeah. It's really the ending that I kind of like lost a lot of touch with.
I feel like
I think it's because it wasn't explained, and I don't know.
I feel like also the ending just went really big and really far. Like it was like obstacle after another obstacle after another obstacle. Like it was almost like an M. Night Shyamalan. It's a twist and then a twist and then a twist type thing. Or like the end of fucking Solo, where it's like, I'm gonna betray you, but I'm betraying you, but I'm gonna betray you, but I turned on you. I've turned on you all the entire time. Like, wait, what?
Is that how that happens?
Do you remember anything of Solo?
No, I saw once in it.
No, yeah, it's just when you just got too much happening.
All I remember is Calrissian, young.
Fair.
That's all.
When you have too much happening in your final conflict, and then, like what you were saying, like it's like resolution as a final conflict just felt. Yeah, it became more of like it's like it was about the romantic idea of them than like saving the world.
Yeah, it didn't have that.
The stakes of like this is all or nothing.
Yeah, it didn't have that final triumph feeling of like,
it was like it's opposed to it being like, oh, this is like all or nothing. It's like, I love you too.
And
Ben Affleck, why are you dying?
They didn't have that like final like triumph over the conflict, and then also I felt like it just kind of flat. It just kind of ended, went and it's over. I know. It didn't really. I don't know. I just didn't feel accomplished.
I mean, there was definitely like a sense of peace at the end of it. I think. Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, we could argue. We could discuss that all fucking day long.
Yeah. I was just gonna say for the last thing though is like, especially like you saying it's like a sci-fi horror. Mm-hmm. Throughout the movie, there is a lot of really tense moments. You're like, oh shit, and this being the end should be the biggest, most tense moment, and I just didn't, because
it stopped being so tense and it started being more end of the world, over the top, explosion-y, to turn into Michael Bay almost.
Yeah, that's a good point. As opposed to like a very personal, intimate terror, it was a very big scale,
a god tier conflict.
Yeah, which kind of I think causes a
no, and then like again, like I keep like this movie is very, very much a video game.
Yeah,
Like if you were to be able, like you were saying, if we were the ones controlling all of that happening, we would have a hardcore emotional investment.
Yeah, 100%.
But since we're just watching it, we're kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I really do think that if they turn this into that, would be the best way to save this.
Do you recommend it to people to watch?
100%, especially for just the visuals alone and just being 20 years old. It's phenomenal. I
mean, 6.4 is a fair rating. I don't know. I feel like it could be a little bit higher. I sometimes feel like it could be a little bit lower.
It's one of those moment to moment.
Yeah,
like scene to scene.
It's like I really think it has a 6.4 only because of its what it did visually. Like it's like how it like is. It was a pioneer for like visual animation.
Yeah. And if you're into that kind of, then definitely watch it.
And then like it's storyline, it's just a very generic, sci-fi, storyline. Which it's kind of interesting to think about because like I think Hironobu, he creates awesome stories for like for the video games. So it's like he's a great video game writer, and
just maybe doesn't transfer great into movies.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's fine. I mean, any other final thoughts?
No, just that. I mean, I really think that, like this is something that should be watched and take in a sense, take it with a grain of salt and go into it for the visual aspect of it.
And also anybody who's always like, because this has always been kind of a thing. Why is Final Fantasy part of the name? Yeah, I think it's literally because that was just a big name
to draw people in.
That Hironobu Sakaguchi is attached to.
Yeah.
Especially him being the creator of the video game franchise. And like...
Yeah, and also they were trying to make a movie studio.
Yes.
So to get people interested in their movie studio, put your biggest video game title in front of it.
Because the original script for this was just Gaia.
Yeah.
And there's also, I mean, actually, I think I briefly read that this also was inspiration from Hironobu's mother passing away, and he thought about what happened to the human spirit.
Oh.
Yeah, I just remembered that. Hey. Cool. I really, this movie could just be called The Spirits Within.
Yeah, that's what it should be called.
And I mean, I could go into talking about like, oh, well, I mean, I could argue how it's a Final Fantasy idea, especially since Final Fantasy games at this time were starting to get a little bit more into a futuristic look. Post the steampunk and like futuristic idea of Final Fantasy 7 and 8, like after like Final Fantasy 10 came out at the end of this year for the series, but that's for another time.
Yeah, it's more like it's Final Fantasy Princess Mononoke kind of thing going on with the whole earth blood and the industrial general, like it has that kind of feel, but Princess Mononoke was way better. But just that kind of pagan lifeblood kind of thing going on. It's like Prince
well,
I
mean,
Final Fantasy.
Hironobu, Final Fantasy 7 is specifically like it's the interesting thought of like, it's also a talk on capitalism. If you really want to like break it down, on how the corporation is sucking the life energy not just from the planet but from the people. You know? So
yeah, totally. But yeah, I mean, would you recommend?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I would 100% recommend it to watch. Like, it's enjoyable to watch. It's beautiful. It might just become one of like a background one for me.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, just the ending.
And you can watch it for free right now on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's on Prime. So if you got nothing better to do, just check it out.
Yeah,
it's cool. Let us know what you think. But I think we're gonna wrap it up for the.
Yeah, I think we're at a good time.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Join us next week for another banter episode.
We'll figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, when we're done here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. Thanks for listening. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Oh, like and subscribe stuff. Share.